So good morning. On what is a rather grey and dreary July day, I am out on something very nice and bright red. This is the Ducati Multistrada V2S, which I'm taking out for a test ride this morning. Bit of a wildcard bike on my list. It's not an adventure bike. It's not really a sports tourer. It's kind of somewhere in the middle, isn't it? But I thought it was something definitely worth a ride, having seen it. It's a very nice looking bike, and also having seen some of the glowing praise it's been getting, I thought it's definitely one that should be on my shortlist. So here we are. So yeah, just picked the bike up from Ducati in Manchester, and we're going to head out on some nice Cheshire country lanes, see some of the best roads around the area. No particular timeline for this test ride. You just take as much time as you want, so I imagine we'll be out for a couple of hours, give the seat a good test as well. I've never ridden a Multistrada before, but I have ridden a V2 before. So some while back when I had my R1250 and they launched the Desert X, I immediately loved the look of that bike. That was just perfection for me, and I had seriously considered part exchanging the BMW for one, and I went and test rode one, and unfortunately the ride didn't live up to the looks for me. It was too vibey. I thought the engine was low on punch, just not particularly nice to ride. Seems to need a lot, it chugged a lot, seems to need a lot of revving, and yes, I think at the time didn't have the torque that I wanted from the bike. So yeah, I was very disappointed with that. Too many vibes, just not for me. But a cracking looking bike, and I can see it is more of an off-roader, and my use case was very much on-road, so yeah, compared to the smoothness of the BMW, it just didn't make any sense to change. That was some years ago. That's the only Ducati I've ever ridden, so that's the only frame of reference I've got, and this is a very different machine. So yeah, very different machine, the Desert X. This is immediately in a different league. Okay, let's have a look around the bike. So, I think you'll agree, it's a nice looking machine. I know it's subjective, don't want to go into looks too much because there's everyone to their own, but there is some nice detail on this bike. When I say that, I mean you've got little hints of red in the frame. This is now an aluminium monocoque. There isn't a steel trellis frame anymore, which is one of the big changes on this bike. It used to have a standard kind of trellis frame. Now it's aluminium, so it is an all new bike now. It's not just the engine that's changed, there's been quite a lot of other changes to it, but it's got a good looking bike, and then it's instantly recognisable as Ducati. Little details like the mirrors, they look very nice. The metal's nice. The everything about the styling, the fuel filler cap, a little hint of yellow on the suspension, just the little details. It's all very neat. So you got proper Brembo levers on this bike as well. They did feel nice. They're quite long. They are adjustable. Let's adjust that in a little bit whilst we're here. Got a little USB port here by the looks of it. So again, hidden away. Although, I don't know if you can see that. It is USB-A, not USB-C, bizarrely. This is now an 890 rather than, I think the old one was a 937. Oh, speaking of details, indicators. So let me find the hazards. So your indicators are down there. I don't know that I like that. Oops. I actually think that's not the most visible place to have them. I actually like the idea of having them up in the handguards, or as a Husqvarna had, little points out to the side here. But anyway, so yeah, 890cc, 115 brake V to him. Of course, it's all ride-by-wire. There's cruise control. He did tell me there that the cruise control was optional. I was reading the spec sheet. I'm not sure it was. I thought it was standard, but yeah, it's all there anyway. Simple control. Obviously, it has all the rider modes. So over here somewhere, there's just the mode button as well. Rider mode's there, and you can cycle through. It says, there we go. Right, go through all the different modes: touring, urban, enduro, wet, sport. And suspension setup in sport is comfort, which is odd. Let's see what we've got for urban. Let's set up sport, shall we? Sport setup. See how easy this is. Not done this before. Power mode, ABS, suspension mode, dynamic. Sport setup, power mode high, ABS. Traction control, wheelie control, engine braking control, DQS. No idea what DQS is. Oh, Quickshifter is on. Okay, so that should give us a good setup. And this toggle switch here, actually very straightforward. I liked the Yamaha system. This is equally simple, equally intuitive to use. So anyway, I've just covered a lot in that setup, but yeah, ride-by-wire, cruise control, rider modes, obviously different power modes there. You've got traction control, wheelie control, engine braking control, 6-axis IMU. It's basically got the full electronic counter-stupidity measures that helps keep you on the tarmac and shiny side up. So, 202 kilograms, I think you said, without fuel. That's slightly heavier than the standard one, but it's got the electronic suspension. So it is about 215 kilos fueled, I would think. 90 litre fuel tank, so it should have around 230 miles of range. It's showing full tank this morning, I noticed, but when I looked at the range 150, so possibly the fuel gauge is trash, as most motorcycle ones are, or maybe it's not been used that kindly. You see, if that was on the last reset, then maybe that is about 230 miles. So it's not too bad. It's saying 47.8 miles per gallon on average over that time. So not bad. And this bike's done 1400 miles, so it's nicely running. So it has an 830 to 850 millimeter seat height. But for me, I'd probably go for the high accessory anyway, and you can obviously make many options to lower it as well. So, flexible setup, basically doesn't matter what height you are, you will find a comfortable position on this bike. We have dual 320mm 4-piston Brembos up front and 256mm 2-piston at the rear, and it has the full kind of Bosch cornering ABS system. I could tell you immediately, I mean, I don't care about branding so much, but I do care about how the brakes work, and these are easy to modulate, and my god, they're powerful. I mean, these aren't even the kind of high spec styling ones, these are just radially mounted Brembos, but yeah, they work very well indeed, so that's good. Then we've got electronic suspension, so they're big chunky 45mm upside down forks, 170mm travel. Felt very squishy. I mean, I just ran it through some fairly deep potholes. I think it's 170 on the rear as well. It's unusual mounted on that shock there, the way it's mounted kind of almost horizontally across the back. Comes with Pirelli Scorpion tyres as standard. So yeah, decent rubber, which I think makes a bit of difference to it. And we've got a 19-inch front with a 17-inch rear. They're actually quite a nice design. You always lose a little bit behind the exhaust and brake disc, but I do really quite like those. Ducati do some nice wheels. You can go up to spoke wheels if you want, but that's about £1,100 option according to the website. One of the nice things with this, you get a 48-month warranty. So that's pretty impressive. Now, of course, it's a Ducati, so it's already expensive. God, it looks like you need a radiator guard in there, that's for sure. When we say expensive, it doesn't come with everything either. So tyre pressure monitoring, turn by turn navigation, heated grips, front fog lights, these are all additional costs. And I'm pretty sure there's less on this spec for spec than you get on the Tracer 9. Yeah, I don't think it's bad value, and I think when you're looking at some of the other bikes you could consider in this category, I don't think the start point of around, I think it's £14,000 with a standard suspension. I don't think it's all that bad. Pricey, yes. Paying for the badge, yes. But I think it's still something in consideration. So again, I'm 6'3", got 115 kilos, my 34 inside, so 33 inch inside leg, and actually the way that the tank's sculpted in is a nice and comfortable fit in there. I can flat foot it, I can actually stand over it. The suspension raises a little bit, the pegs are in the way, but yeah, quite easily stand over that, no problem at all. So a lot of spring when you sit down, but of course it's electronic, so it sorts itself out. Stand down, and of course it doesn't have a standard, so that will be additional as well. In terms of moving it around, yeah, it's definitely heavier than the Tracer 9. We'll just turn it around. But actually I think that in terms of moving around in the garage, that lock is better than my Himalayan, possibly. That's quite a tight turning circle. So yeah, agile. Does feel heavier than its weight suggests. I know it was a dry weight. The 202 kilos doesn't include fuel. It's a wet weight, sorry, but doesn't include fuel. Just the other liquids in the bike. I say no problem to get a leg over. And nice when seated. Okay, so let's get on our way. So as you like the starter, as I say, we'll flick that switch there. This switch blocks all feel very tactile. It feels very B&W in terms of quality. I have no frame of reference for what Ducati is normally like. I believe they're not switch backlit, but the centre press on that is nice. It's very easy to hit with the gloves on. Yeah, like it. So clutch in. There we go. So it's nice and far up. There's a nice kind of sound to it, and also you can feel that through the seat. You kind of proper kind of thump, but it goes. It's just when it starts up, and it's kind of, you know, you're on a motorcycle. I think that's the way of describing it. Let's change the mode, shall we? To sport. Right, so we're now in sport mode. Okay, definite difference in the throttle. Let's see what the suspension's like. Nice. So it turns it beautifully. I mean, for a 19-inch wheel, which I think is the same as the Bear had, obviously totally different bike to get there, but this is taller, heavier, and it just feels so darty. I don't think it has any right to be that nimble, given the size of this bike really and the weight of it. But yeah, it really is lovely thing. So we're saying about the engine. So as I say, I can't tell you anything about the old Multistrada. Not a bike I ever rode. I only had that one reference for the Ducati Desert X or the V2, but this definitely has a different feel. It's not that it has more torque, because I think actually on paper it has less, but it feels there's plenty there to pull you along from lower revs. So I mean, third gear, let me back it off to 2000 RPM. 2000 third gear. There's a little bit of chug there, but actually nothing bad. Nothing like you got from the old unit. And I believe part of the major change is this move away from the Desmondronic valves, which is the mechanical valves, to normal spring ones, like every other motorcycle on the planet. And that brings with it some advantages. So your service intervals become much bigger for the valve clearance checks. I think it's something like around 30,000 miles. There's 28,000 miles was it, I think it was for the checks, which is just as well because it's a £500 service with your oil service and your valve check. £500. There is a little bit of buzz around 4,000 RPM. Just trying to feel it under my legs. Nothing bad. It's, yeah, like any other bike, you kind of want to feel you're on something. It's not electric smooth. It's because there's an engine there. It feels very nice. So I believe a normal service is around 250 for just oil change. So I don't think it's going to be. You know, everyone says you'd be in for pain with Ducati service. I'm not sure. I don't know whether it's going to be any more expensive than BMW. But lucky having a dealership in Manchester. I think there was people in there this morning having their bike serviced from having ridden across from North Wales. So I've been riding for probably about an hour on this bike. Kind of left Manchester and headed out into the Cheshire countryside. My thoughts so far: ergonomics, nigh on perfect. The bar position is great. It's just a nice kind of upright position. The seat. Now, when I sat in these before, like when I sit on the S1000XR, you very much sat in it, and it's kind of almost pins you in position. This, I don't feel like I'm sat so deep into it, but I've still got the seat coming up my to the kind of lower back, so it holds you in position nicely. Actually, the pillion is so high that it's supporting my backpack, which is lovely because it's taking the weight off my shoulders. But yeah, very comfortable seat. And actually, as much as I put the high seat on this, just because I always do with my height, this is fine. I could ride this happily. My legs aren't at 90 degrees, they are tipped back, but not in any uncomfortable way. Nothing that I feel is an unusual position. Actually, everything falls very nicely to your feet, which is great. And I've just missed my turning, so let me turn around. Alright, let's try again. See if we can actually take the right turning this time. Yeah, our Quickshifter moves up and down beautifully. Even at a slower speed, so third, on to 30. Yeah, up to fourth. Just really nice. So yeah, so in leg position, perfectly comfortable, but the seat is just brilliant. I mean, there's enough support there on my back. It's not as wide as the Husqvarna one, but it's got enough at the back there to make me feel like I'm properly sported in. We'll try and get on a motorway at some point and see what that feels like. And there's not a lot under my thighs, but actually it's very comfortable, that position. Hopefully it'll still be comfortable after a couple of hours, because one of the downsides of this kind of seat is there isn't any space to move around. If I get uncomfortable in the Himalayan, which I do, then I shuffle back onto the other seat or find a way to make it comfortable. Not an option here, but I don't think it's going to be necessary. Yeah, I like that. So even in sport mode, actually the throttle is very easy to use. There's no twitchiness or jerkiness. I rode through central Manchester this morning in heavy traffic and it was fine. I would happily use this for commuting as well. So yeah, very comfy. It's actually quite a springy setup, so you can definitely, even with the electronic one, and I'm in sport mode, I've set it up into adapt the heavier adaptive setting. I say the firm, what I thought would be the firm adaptive setting, but it doesn't feel particularly firm. The Tracer was definitely firmer. In some ways I like that better because I think it gives you more confidence in the corner. This has got Actually, plenty of confidence in borrowing to tip it in, but then there's a little bit of bounce there that makes me just a little bit less certain of what it's going to do. And it is on a bigger 19 obviously rather than a 17, so yeah, you haven't got that front end feel. But as I was talking about, it's about balance, isn't it? 40 miles an hour, there's nothing behind me. Let's try the front brake. Whoa, bloody hell, that's good. Okay, that's better than my BMW used to be. Let's try the rear, 30 miles an hour. Yeah, ABS cuts in, but it slows you down nicely. More than happy, those brakes are astounding. Switch blocks, by the way, that as well as being a nice control. Oh, this doesn't look good. As well as being a nice control for the main toggle there, that indicator's very good as well. So it's got a nice definitive click for either side, and the cancel's just a nice kind of short travel one. There's no, you can't mess it up very easy. I don't know if they auto cancel or not. I forgot to ask that question. But yeah, really impressed with that. Hazards fall easy to hand, and the flasher. The flasher is at the top there. Why isn't that an industry standard? Yeah, once you're moving along, there's no vibration on this at all so far. Is that kind of nice thump on startup, and definitely got some feel to it. And then once you're moving, it's just smooth. It's not what I expected, if I'm honest. I was kind of expected to be a little bit lumpier than this. My God, it needs that wheelie control. Felt that lift. That's pretty ferocious. So, who the hell needs something like the V4? This is what you get out of a two-cylinder, honest to God. And I suppose the big difference here is the looks of it. Okay, this isn't Panigale pretty. They've done their best to keep the family face on it. You've got those nice lights, you've got the stunning red paintwork, but then Yamaha I thought was quite striking. Yeah, I think it was actually quite a handsome bike in its own way. Definitely unusual with that light cluster at the front. But then those, I mean, for someone who rides through winters, good headlights is eluded me so far on motorcycles, so that's actually quite tempting. This, I think you have to pay extra for spotlights. I don't know how good the headlights are or not, but yeah, the only colour that Tracer came in was black or silver, unless you pay £17,000 to have the blue one, which looked very nice. But then red's the standard colour on this at £14,000, and it is a Ducati. I mean, it looks very nice indeed. I think they have reduced that beak a little bit on the front. And then, to be honest, from here, you don't see the beak, you don't care. You get that nice red glow from Ducati, you get all the nice switch gear. That screen, now that's an interesting one. So I said this on the Husqvarna as well. I think that was a 5-inch screen. This looks about the same to me. I think that is the sweet spot, and this is better than the Husqvarna, that display. I don't think it is necessarily as sharp as the one of the Yamaha. The Yamaha was a bigger screen as well, had a lot more going on. I did like the quick access menu in that, so you had a jog wheel, you could go up and quickly get through things, and like you could get to your adjustments for heated grips and things. And by the way, heated grips on this are extra. I don't even know if a heated seat's possible. That is a negative. Yeah, that is a negative, definitely. Stay where you are. But yeah, that size of screen is a sweet spot, and this one in particular is beautifully clear. I mean, the speed is clearly visible, gear shift, rev counter is nice twist for rev counter. There is nothing I don't like about that display. Whoa, so this smells fresh around here. So into Old Ollie Edge now. I don't think there's any configuration changes on it. I don't think you can choose what you want to see. There is a turn-by-turn nav available. Disappointingly, that's an extra, so it's not particularly expensive, but because it's only turn-by-turn, I would probably buy something to bolt to the bars, which is a bit of a shame, because that is a nice thing of that Royal Enfield, is having that integrated app for the sat nav and having all part of the same display. And I think even the Yamaha, through the app, you get access to Garmin maps, so that is a shortfall on this one for sure. So what have we not covered? We've covered ride comfort, we've covered the ergonomics, we've covered the handling. The handling is by far one of the greatest strengths of this thing. Oh yeah, fork dive. So actually, when I did that heavy braking a while ago, it did dive. More than the Yamaha, less than the Husqvarna, probably more than the Himalayan if I'm honest, but possibly that's because the brakes are much stronger. I mean, that's stopping, I'd say, at about half the distance. Let's try and pull away a second. Pull away in second gear, no problem. And that's something I do quite often because I forget to change down, so always nice when it doesn't stall. I say the best one I've had so far was that Classic 650, he had the torque to pull away in third. You stay where you are. Oh, some interesting driving here this morning. So, one thing we haven't talked about is wind protection, which we'll get onto when we get onto the motorway. Obviously, you've got a big screen in front of you, you've got side bits on it. As much as this is wide, I actually feel a fair amount of wind on my legs. Which kind of surprises me, but then 20 mile an hour limit. What the hell is this, 20? Surprises me, but then also probably a good thing, because a couple of times I've been stopped, you can feel the heat bellowing off the sides of it, so one of those bikes you're not going to want to stop too long on. Stay where you are, squirrel. Healy, Austin Healy 3000. That's the Mark III ones. They're lovely vehicles. I always wanted one of those, but this is one of the consequences of being too big. I know people think it's great being tall, but actually some of the things you dearly love, sports cars, sports bikes, just are complete no-go areas because you can't get in them. I remember squeezing myself into a Lotus Elise once and not being able to get out of it again. So yeah, that's a very pretty little car. Right, we're going to turn down here. I'd say that Quickshifter is even smoother at lower speeds than it is at high. You feel the definite kind of thump as it goes in at higher speed, which is fair enough. You push on the throttle. But how's it sound anyway? See, that's what I was saying. So I forget what I'm saying a lot of the time. It's not good for a YouTuber, is it really? He doesn't remember what he wants to say. But Tracer 9. Did like the engine. In fact, the triple was great. It's really nice balance of just what you want, really, isn't it? I mean, power, torque, smoothness, perfect. I'm not particularly enamoured with the sound of triples. That's my only problem with them. I do prefer the sound of a twin. So yeah, I'm liking the sound of this one better. Nadgery little road. Now, one of the big differences between this and the V4, and they don't even do it as an option on this, is the radar system. So you have radar guided cruise control and your blind spot monitoring. So some people are saying they're disappointed they can't get it on this bike. I don't know, I'm not fussed. My experience of it in cars over several vehicles has been extremely mixed. I had one that was very good, in terms of working that, but most of them have had their limitations, and they're limitations that I wouldn't want on a motorbike. So one is smoothness. The way the detection works isn't quite quick enough to respond, and therefore you get a little bit of heavier braking. If you increase the distance, even the minimum distance, sometimes you kind of think, well, you're leaving the gap that's big enough there for a car to get in, and they do. And those things just kind of make me think, well, I wouldn't actually want it on a motorbike. I don't want the scenario of something pulling into my gap and the bike braking. I would rather have a standard cruise control that I then intervene when I need to. Maybe that's the Luddite in me, I don't know, but I'm not a technophobe. I just don't think the systems work perfectly enough yet, and they don't. I'm not saying I'm the perfect driver by any stretch of the imagination, but the thing is, they don't respond how I would respond as a human. So you're coming around a bend on a motorway, and I can see the traffic building up. Well, the radar can't see it yet, so I've already seen it. I'm looking further down the road than the radar can, and I think that's the thing. And it's probably the case for most motorcyclists. You're looking further ahead. Should we have a look in there? There's a good turning circle. What was this? Hare Hill National Trust. So yeah, handles this gravel track, no problem at all. There you go, adventure riding on a non-adventure bike. Zero concerns. So sorry, yeah, I was saying radar control. So yeah, all in all, that's not something I'm fussed about. So I could definitely live without that. Now, what I do think should almost be a mandatory bit of kit now, and I know it comes with the radar, so that's why it's not included, is those blind spot monitors, because they really are a lifesaver. I mean, that would be very nice to have on these. Actually, that brings me on to one potential negative with this, is those mirrors. They look beautiful. I love the look of them. Sorry, it's going to give me. However, I can't adjust them to where I need them. I don't. There must be a way of doing it, but I think it's probably back down to undoing the brackets and bringing them forwards towards me, because I can't actually get those where I want them at the moment. But yeah, that said, blind spot monitors on them would be fantastic. And of course, talking about added extras, I think things like that, the radar stuff, that brings you onto the price. So it's 14 something for the base model, but I'm not even worried about that, because if I'm going to go for this, I'd want the one with this suspension on it. I think this is really, really good, that suspension. So that brings this bike, it's 16.5 as a standard, I think. As I say, it doesn't come with a centre stand, doesn't come with heated grips, and there was something else it didn't come with. Oh yeah, the connected nav. So start adding those things in, which I did on the configurator last night, and I was over £17,000. So I'll put that up on the screen now. So it's not a cheap bike, but is it going to hold its value? Ducatis do, don't they? Its popularity's there. Is it a sound investment? And no more than just a sound investment. Does that mean when you're buying on PCP that actually it's better monthly cost than the Tracer? Just over 2.25 hours in, obviously had that brief spell off the bike. I'm just starting to feel a little bit now. Yeah, just starting to feel now, and I think it's from some of the kind of accelerating and decelerating, like it's pushing me into the tank a little bit. just a little bit uncomfortable now, just a little bit of bumping. Right, that's not too bad. More comfortable than the Himalayan, arguably less comfortable than the Tracer or the Husqvarna. But it is a nice sculpted seat, and I say with a higher one maybe that'll make the difference for me. It's a very tempting proposition, this bike. Would I buy it? Absolutely. This I think, if I'm honest, is probably now top of my list, just because of that balance of handling. So nice. I need to go onto a motorway, just do a high-speed test on it. Yeah, I would absolutely buy this. 50 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour, if I put that up. Now that's interesting. So that screen in this high position, that I'm pretty tall. That screen is actually putting that wind blast just above the peak on my helmet, and that's the first bike I've ridden where I haven't had anything around the top of that helmet. Even the Husqvarna with that massive screen that you're looking through, and you look at, I know you're looking through this on the camera, but my eye line is just above the top of this, and this is the first one actually that seems to put it over my head. Even the Yamaha was a little bit around the top of my head, so interesting. When you do use a clutch, if you're like me and you forget you've got a Quickshifter, very nice. I actually don't know that I'd use the Quickshifter all the time. It's a nice clutch. It's heavy in comparison to my bike and the Tracer, but it's got a nice feel to it. 30 miles an hour, second gear. Do 65, no problem. Revs all the way around to, I believe, just over 10. Yeah, it's the red line on this one, so I can't think that I'd see the red line very often on this, and that is a shame in some ways. I mean, we're talking about this the other day, real world power. There are some advantages, and it's nice being able to go out on that bike and absolutely wring its neck and not scare myself stupid. With this one, there's very few occasions I'm going to be doing anything like that. This is right near the Jodrell Bank Observatory. I'm hoping I can get up somewhere where we can actually see the telescope. Are they called telescopes? The satellite dish, whatever they're called. There we go. See over in the distance there. That's just whilst we're off, let's get a sound of that exhaust. Okay, so let's start heading back. Been out since just after 9, so almost a few hours now. Nice opportunity to really get a feel for the bike, so thank you to Gary at Ducati Manchester getting me out on the bike today. Very nice to deal with. I'm not sure if or where there are other Ducati garages, to be honest. I've never seen them. I filled in form online and he came back to me. . ABS cut in there. Slight squirm sideways before the ABS cut in, so it did lock a little bit there. But I mean, I do trust this has got rider aids coming out of his ears, so I do actually have the trust that it would stop me before I did anything too dangerous. No visibility around this bend at all. There we go. Some of these roads are much easier to navigate in winter because you just don't have the bushes and the hedgerows you can see through. But they are very nice nonetheless. So the flexibility of the engine does actually really impress me in a similar way to the Husqvarna 900cc, and this obviously is similar kind of size. And they have tuned them to get that torque just right, so there is no chugging, there is no issue with low revs. They obviously have a sweet spot of where they want to be. Oh my god, that's rough. But it handles anything very well, so even, you know, say 5th gear, 35 miles an hour, and it still pulls. Okay, it's not particularly happy about it, but it'll do it. And that's one of the things that impresses me a lot with these parallel twins and V-twin in this case, is how flexible they are. And they can do sedate very nicely as well. And as I said before, I have no frame of reference for Ducati other than one test ride on a Desert X, and I know a lot of people probably aren't happy with the change of this engine. They're taking away some of the traditional features and feels, and maybe it's not sporty enough, maybe it's not seen as a proper Ducati. I genuinely don't know, but I have no frame of reference. Never ridden a Multistrada, never been on other Ducatis, other than to know this is very, very good. I mean, the engine is capable of working at any speed. The throttle response is good, gear shift, everything, brakes. As an overall package, it is just so well balanced. This might be just the best do everything bike. Slow down because there are speed cameras around. Apparently they're using speed camera drones now over the cat and fiddle and those backlane passes, so not safe anywhere. Speed cameras will get you. I have no fatigue on my hands or arms at all. The bar position's very, very comfortable. So the whole, I don't feel like my back's been slouching or anything. It's just, yeah, as much as the seat comfort maybe isn't quite as good as the others, it's perfectly good enough for a few hours at a time, and it holds me in a better position overall. The inputs needed for this on the steering are so light, it's great, but then kind of quite a clunky input on the foot. So yeah, everything has a nice tactile feel to it. Switch gear as well. I mean, that's, yeah, very easy to use. Straight into the menu. I haven't really spent any time going through that, but it's quite a basic setup, and that is one of the things I remember on the Desert X, looking at the screen going, what the hell's going on here? There's a lot of information, and you get the same with this one. We do that setup about all the different settings, but I think you're just going to do that once and then forget about it. So yeah, I like the engine, like the display, like the handling. I'm trying to think if there's anything I don't like about this, other than the price. I can't really count the price against it. The price is the price, and when you've got a product this good, you can see what they're charging for it. I'm sure there'll be offers eventually. Maybe that's just a case of waiting for the offer. Oh, plastics. Yeah, that's one thing I didn't pick up on. Some of those plastics are a bit cheap and cheerful. But I think if that's all I can point out, I am kind of nitpicking, aren't I? Yeah, well, my Himalayan doesn't do that. So yeah, doing 50 miles an hour here, there is a bit of flutter around my arms actually. Those wind deflectors to the side don't take all of the wind off the side of you, so I'm feeling that, but actually otherwise I'm in a bit of a cocoon here. That's a very nicely done screen. Very impressive. Ooh. Yeah, you see, even this sweeping motorway bends coming onto slip roads just handles nicely. Right, let's get up to 70. Yeah, what I was saying with that S1000 XR is value for money. It's been around longer, but there are better offers on it. Now that's interesting. So a bit buffeted at the moment. Let's get away from these lorries and this car. So at lower speeds, that screen was doing a great job, keeping me in a complete bubble. Now I'm on the motorway. Let me just check this up fully. And that mechanism is clever there. Push right in the wind blast there. 35. Pull it up. Yeah, that's weird. So it's still above my head, but it's actually the stuff coming off the sides is making me feel like it's a bit blustery, although 80 miles an hour is as fast as you really want to go, isn't it? The motorway. It says gear 80 miles an hour. It's quite a bit lower. It's 57 miles an hour, 5,000 RPM. So it's a little bit more long-legged, if you like, for doing that touring. But that wind blast onto my sides is noticeable, and it makes you feel a little bit like, because I think the handling is so good and that's blowing my arms, it feels like it's a little bit twitchy. I don't know if there's a steering damper on here or not. I presume there is a steering damper. Let's not find out. I don't want any tank slappers, but yeah, that's surprising. It's still very, very good. I mean, if you can still hear me, then that would suggest that the wind noise is well controlled. Certainly feels stable enough. Turning those speeds all fine. You can stay on the motorway. Yeah, so there's a little bit of crosswind. I think that might be causing some of that. I feel like like I'm being paddled one side and the other on my arms. Just got to make sure not to put any steering inputs when that's happening. But no, in terms of the rear wheel position, everything else, this is nicely planted. More so than the Africa Twin for me. That was good, but there was more general movement on that. This is very, very stable, not as stable as a Husqvarna. I don't think there's many things. I think probably the low down fuel tanks do a lot of that. It just feels properly not going anywhere. This is going to be affected more by winds. Better than the Himalayan. See if I can get fast enough to activate the cruise control. Let's turn it on. Ready. So actually we've slowed right down now. This is gear 47 miles an hour. It's not complaining. I wonder what our MPG's been today. That's showing 50. Yeah, I can live with that. The BMW used to do around 50 to the gallon. Not great, not terrible. I would certainly miss the 80 to the gallon. Okay, so cruise control set at 66 miles an hour. Yeah, nice and easy to use. Increments up to 70. Yeah, perfect. Push and hold, accelerates. So 75, just look back again because I think the speed cameras. 2. Yeah, that's generally going to be capable as a touring machine. Let's just put that down again. Yeah, that puts it onto the top of my helmet, definitely, so it is doing a good job. It's nice and easy to reach forward and change that as well. Say it's just the arms just picking up on the side of me and top of my shoulders from that side bit. Maybe you can do something about that, I don't know, but then I don't think that's the end of the world. It's more than civilised enough. You see the radar for me, I don't know that I'd be fussed because now I'm gaining on the car in front. I just pull out. I don't actually want to brake and slow down because then the pickup truck up my arse is going to get even closer, so I'll still accelerate through it. I'm guessing as soon as I make any other adjustment it'll cancel that cruise control. It's a nice easy on off. There's no funny kind of dog leg toggle on this one, which you get on some of those little clicks slide. This is kind of click on, click off, which I quite like. So the question earlier was, would I have one? Yeah, absolutely. Sign me up. Should I have one? I don't know. The cost is a big thing, and is it worth the money for the badge? Am I paying for the absolute best bike on the market? Possibly. Is that what I need for what I ride? Would I ride it more? So many questions. Okay, so now I've backed off the throttle, it's picked up on the cruise control again. Let's just pull in there. Yeah, very, very nice. Display's nice and clear. I'm not sure what the warning triangle's about. That might just be service to you or something. I can't actually seem to see that in the menu, so it'll be interesting when we go back to have a look at that. Yeah, actually there's pretty heavy winds today. That's quite choppy crosswinds coming across that field, and this feels perfectly stable. No concerns. So yes, it's got the handling. Yes, it's got the suspension comfort. Yes, it's got the grip and groom factor. Yes, it's got enough of the seat comforts. It's matching everything so far. So the mirror stability is nice. As much as I need to adjust the position, those things are rock solid. The visibility at high speeds is good as well. Jet pen coming off there. Very nice. So what do I think then? Pros and cons. Obviously I would buy this bike 100%, and that's kind of quite telling that the pros are all big ones. I mean, we're not talking about a minor thing here, we're talking about the engine, the performance of that engine, the handling, the suspension, they're all brilliant. Suspension, possibly a little bit on the squishy side, but not, I wanted to go into the Shell garage, I have to work out to turn around. But in no means is it too squishy like I found the Husqvarna. So quite happy with that. So all big pros, and the cons, the only things I can say are really minor, and I mean really minor. We're talking about quality of your trim plastics, the fact the USB is a USB-A and not USB-C. Seat comfort isn't quite as good as something else. I know it's not bad, it's really, really nice. I've been on this a few hours now, and that is far more comfortable in that time than I would have found my my Himalayan. So yeah, I could do a few hours at a time, and it's no problem, is it? And I don't think I can count the price as a negative. The only thing I will say maybe then is the other negative is the equipment included for the price. I mean, for a touring machine, they'll have to put a centre stand and heater grips on as extras. Is a little frustrating. But that's it. Just going to fill up with fuel. See you in a second. So I think you see Dalton House over there. That is literally the dealership. So unusual ending for a video, but I am going to end it here. And I'm going to say thank you very much to Ducati Manchester for letting me take the bike out. Very much enjoyed that, and I think this is now firmly at the top of my list. So yeah, time well spent. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you have, obviously please like and subscribe. Well, this may be the end of the test rides, because what would I ride after this? But in any case, well, actually no, it's not the end of the test ride, because I'm doing the demo day down at Crew Motorcycles on many Royal Enfields, which I'm really looking forward to. But for this ride, yeah, thank you very much. Hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.